Bitcoin makes a new high for 2023, at least to Wednesday, because we do have another big decision from our Fed Chair Powell. He will be speaking, right? We will have the FOMC meeting once again. It starts tomorrow, concludes on Wednesday, but they already talked. There was already emergency discussion last week already, right, about this. So everyone's still wondering, what is he going to do? Is he going to raise rates, not raise rates, keep it at zero, right? Right now it's predicted at 30. No, it's going down. So there seems to be a lot of people think that the Fed will still continue to raise rates, but now do 25 basis points. The last one was 50 basis points. So we're going down to 25, which is good. Right? And then you have 28% of people thinking it's zero. I still think I'm clinging on to zero. I may be wrong about that, but I'm clinging on zero. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on. First Republic is not the only bank. Obviously, there's been others, SV Bank and Signature and what's the other one? I'm drawing a blank here, but you guys know there was another one, another major one. But SV Bank kind of set things off in the U.S. And then plus, last week I covered about a lot of mid-tier banks also, yelling at the FDIC to cover all deposits. I mean, when you're hearing about these things, they're not good, right? That means banks are fearful. So all these things are no good. So I can't believe that the Fed would dare to be hawkish still. Right? They should be in emergency mode trying to figure out what to do. And I read an article that says the FDIC is thinking about raising their insurance limit. This $250,000 limit that jumped up in 2008, they're thinking about pushing that up because they're fearful of bank runs. They may push that up to $400,000, $500,000, $1 million, right? But where's the money coming from? But yeah, but that's why, leading to Bitcoin, Switzerland is getting ready to put up 260 billion francs for this rescue. Okay, so if you thought that 54 billion that they gave them, right, was enough, and now UBS buying them is enough, no. There's another 260 billion. And francs or dollars are pretty equivalent, so it's close to 260 billion USD too. That's how much they have to put in to save this bank, So this just put things into perspective, right? When one bank goes under, there's so much money that somehow just disappears, and you have to put so much more, exponentially more, just to save them. 260 billion on top of the 50 billion. That's 300 billion right there, right? That's a crazy, crazy amount. So this is why people are turning to Bitcoin, because how could you trust any of these guys, right? Front page of CNBC now talks about First Republic. So let's move on to another bank in the U.S. You remember just last week, the Fed and FDIC, same thing, kind of like the Swiss National Bank. The Fed forced 11 other banks in the U.S. to inject $30 billion into First Republic Bank because First Republic Bank also selling off. People didn't like what they were seeing. There were lines out the door at the branches, right? This just happened last week, okay? And you know what? It hasn't helped. It's down 21%. It was down 30-something% on Friday. So whenever there's fear, it doesn't matter how much money you inject into them. It just seems like it's never enough. Okay, so 30 billion seems like it's nothing when they're losing this much every single day, right? So First Republic, if they don't do anything, they're going to go under too. Or the Fed is go do another cash injection, or they're going to force JP Morgan or someone to take them over, or something. Okay, something's going to happen. So this is what's happening right now. You got Credit Suisse A lot of fear over them. Now in the U.S., you got First Republic Bank, but these are just the tip of the iceberg. That's why you have a lot of people thinking great things are going to come to Bitcoin in short order. And when I say short, 90 days, $1 million in 90 days. This is from the former CTO of Coinbase, who thinks that all banks are about to collapse and everyone's going to turn to Bitcoin. I'm not so sure that this is going to happen in 90 days. And I've seen people comment in live chat, like, if this really happens, we have bigger problems on our hands, because that means the entire financial industry has crashed and burned. And yeah, we'll probably have bigger problems to worry about. But it's nice to dream about. Can Bitcoin hit 1 million someday? Yes. In 90 days? Probably not. But how high can Bitcoin go in 90 days? Well, the sky is the limit. There's a lot of charts that show that, hey, we're following previous patterns, we're breaking out, we're making new levels, right? And who knows? Who knows where Bitcoin will be in 90 days? Here's an example of such chart. This is a MACD on the monthly scale, right? You can see once Bitcoin flipped to the green, this happened in 2015 and it happened in 2019. I mean, look at what has followed afterwards, right? And we're about to flip in the green, guys. So this is happening. This is not a monthly scale. These kind of crossovers do not happen very often. Over the last 10 years has only happened 3 times, and this is about to be the 4th, right? So not that much. Here's another one. This is like the EMA ribbon, which basically shows, okay, last time this happened, we were coming off from bottom in 2019. What happened? We went from 3,000 all the way up to 14,000. So, right? So now we're coming up from 15,000, or we go hit 30, 40, 50,000 as our local peak. It could happen. It could happen. We got a lot of good stuff. And of course, like fundamentals, like percent last active 5 years, all-time high, closing in at 29%, right? And I've showed this for 1 year, for 3 years, or 2 year, 3 year, now 5 year, 10 year. They're all at all-time high, right? It's no wonder that Bitcoin is gaining strength, and despite the horrible macro conditions, despite bank run fears, despite everything else, it's doing pretty well indeed.